वीडियो कॉल पर नहीं बना दूंगी, पर यूँ नहीं है, पर आप आते समझ नहीं आए। 8 बजे तक आओगे आप? हाँ तो 8 बजे। अच्छा कोई बात नहीं, तो मैं कुछ तैयारी तो कर दूँगी वैसे।
Good evening everybody. Welcome to the class. I am very sure you are getting me perfectly. So everyone is having my voice or noise. सबको आवाज आ रही है मेरी? Is everyone able to see me or my voice? Are you able to hear my voice? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. So let us directly start the class. And this is very important class, and you will understand why we are in Unacademy doing so differently and so hard. We are working with the students. Okay. So, hello, my class is going on. So I am Rakesh Verma. I am topper in BTech, MBA and MA Economics. I am IAS officer of 1981 batch and former additional chief secretary, Government of Rajasthan, and my free classes unlocking and subscription referral code is RVJ81. Okay, so I am very sure everyone is able to get me, and we are going to discuss today a very important paper which I think no one can discuss the way Unacademy does it. So I as Rakesh Verma am taking presently the following courses in Unacademy: critical issues for CSE 2021, then international relations, science and technology, and Indian economy. Okay. Now, I am very sure there is no problem in hearing me, because analysis will require a lot of hearing also from my side. Everything is fine, Shilpi? Everyone is welcome, and Shilpi, are you able to get it? Yes, Murli? Savita? Please just confirm me so that I can start. Okay. So now we shall work on this. So I am teaching Indian economy, very important concepts and critical issues, a very famous course of mine. This does not deal with theoretical things which other teachers teach, but we talk about the critical issues and concepts together, and it's a plus course in English which is going on. There is another very interesting and very important course which I am running, that is international relations, where we are talking about all the things with the help of impact analysis. The students who are studying this course, they know how differently oriented it is and how much helpful it is for the examination. And this is the most important course. This gives you in-depth knowledge of all the topics which are happening around you. And I may tell you, every student, again I want to emphasize that in UPSC Civil Services examination, basically the knowledge is being tested on your response, on your reaction to what is happening around you, what events are taking place around you. No books are required except for optional, remember it. If you entangle yourself in books, then you are slightly at disadvantageous situation. Okay. Now, before I start the analysis, I just want to point out few things, very small number of things. For good essay, for a very good essay, and if you want to score high marks, then following things you will have to remember. These are very important things and you have to remember them, because I have seen with my personal experience that the students get very high marks if they follow these simple format, this very, very simple format. आप इसको देखें, reading non-fiction in spare time. This is very interesting. What I am suggesting you is, if you have some good novel, that is non-fiction, a non-fiction book, right, then I am taking the class. So it should be remembered basically that whenever you are thinking of writing any essay, you should always try to read as many papers as possible, as many books. Books means the fiction or non-fiction books. Like Paulo Coelho. I will suggest you that you should read at least one book of Paulo Coelho. That will give you a lot of strength for writing good essays. Secondly, reading newspapers' central editorial page essay and make notes of it. I am not talking about editorial. Editorial is not that important because you yourself are able to basically analyze the present situations better than anyone else. But go in for essays which are written there and make small pointed notes in a register. Then third thing, which really impinges upon your success in the examination, the whole overall civil services examination, is collective good stories and anecdotes and quotes. So you can collect these anecdotes and quotes either from newspapers. If you see any editorial page, at the last point, below the last level, you will always find good quotes there. These quotes and anecdotes are very important, and I always will suggest you that whatsoever is happening, suppose you notice something important is happening in the country around you, suppose you go to shop, you observe something, you are going to the hospital, you observe something, just write 4 or 5 lines on that. And another very, very important thing is improving language and expression. Here I would like to mention, so many people think that very high level of English is required in civil service examination. Most of the people, they think that unless you have very great English, you will not score good marks in essay and other papers. It is false notion. This should be removed. This should be removed from your brain. The language should be very simple. Very simple language, but right grammar, correct grammar. These only are the things which are important. Don't go in for large, long sentences. They don't give you anything in the examination, I tell you. On the other hand, you yourself get confused as to how to take the argument further. Then, the greatest thing which I teach in the classes, whether it is ethics class, whether it is economics class, or ecology class, polity class, science and technology class, मेरा सबसे बड़ा सिद्धांत यह है कि बच्चे खुद अपना रिएक्शन देना शुरू करें किसी भी क्वेश्चन पर और किसी भी पॉइंट पर, अपना व्यूज बनाना शुरू करें। मैं हर क्लास में यह कोशिश करता हूं कि बच्चे अपने आप बाहर आए, अपने आप को, अपने विचारों को बाहर लेकर आए। बिकॉज एग्जाम में कभी भी एक फिक्स्ड क्वेश्चंस नहीं आएंगे, फिक्स्ड ऐसे के टॉपिक्स नहीं आएंगे। आपको हमेशा अपने नॉलेज बैंक को, अपने आप को कैसे एक्सप्रेस करना है, यह सीखना होगा अच्छे तरीके से। दैट इज द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग। एंड लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, as you will see the today's paper also, remember GS4 plays a very important role in securing high marks in essay paper. So in other words, GS4 250 marks main paper and 125 marks essay part A. So you are covering almost 400 marks with only one paper. This should not be forgotten. This should never be forgotten. Then, when I talk about pick up important incidents, from the very day you commence your preparation for UPSC CSE, become a keen observer of what all is happening around you. Okay, that is very important. Very important thing, what we think is important and is happening around you. Okay, keep a separate register to make a short description of all such incidents and anecdotes in descriptive form. And last thing before I go to the paper, by mentioning these anecdotes as integral part of relevant answers, you show your strong conviction. And strong conviction is what gives you the victory with flying colors. You should not forget this. You should never forget this. Because if you are writing with conviction, that gets reflected in your answers. Even today when you were doing some questions in the class, I was so happy and so surprised that my students were writing so beautifully on topic which was very difficult and which was just given in the class itself on the spot. So that gives you extra marks in the examination. That you should not forget. Okay, now we come to the today's paper, essay paper 2020. Here the methodology which I have adopted today is that I will analyze each and every topic. I will tell you what does it mean, how do you think of the topic, how should you write, and what should be your basic stress. Paper, according to me and the students of Ohana family, Ohana means the family of the students and me in Unacademy, where we are studying as a group. If you ask my students, they will tell the paper was very easy. It was extremely easy paper, I should tell you. You will just see here, when I analyze, you will find that paper was very easy. The only thing which you required was the keen interest in the classes, nothing more than that. Right? Now, let us see section A. Question number 1. Section A and question number 1. The essay topic was life is long journey. Life is long journey between human being and being humane. Very simple topic. What is saying? What is saying? That you have to be humane. You should be considerate regarding the problems, issues, the difficulties being faced by others. Then only you are really human being. So just a human being will become a humane only when we have our very strong morals. We follow these morals and we get moved by the problems of others. This topic was 100% topic from ethics. This was the topic absolutely from ethics paper. Here we needed to give stress on empathy. Empathy means you can understand others' problems, you can feel the problem of others as if you are at that person's place. Then you become humane. Only this was to be explained. In addition, you had to mention that emotional intelligence plays a very, very important role for converting a human being into real humane person. The journey from human to humane involves emotional intelligence. That is what you had to write in the essay. And of course, you had to mention a lot about altruism. Altruism means when you are thinking good about others, for others, you are not bothered about your happiness as much as you are thinking of the happiness of others. That is the point. This is what this essay wanted. That any human being should be humane first. As we have studied in our class, and the way we have studied in the class of GS4, this answer, this topic, this question was very, very easy for my students. The students from this class who appeared today, they were so happy about the paper. And they were thinking that why this paper was so simple. After studying ethics so it was completely merged into ethical concepts. Now, let us move further. The topic number 2 was mindful manifesto is the catalyst to a tranquil self. Such an easy thing. Is again ethical topic from ethics. What is mindful manifesto? Mindful manifesto shows how individuals can address common ailments such as anxiety, depression, help stabilize and cushion frenzied daily schedules, feel healthier, release addictions, and be more present and productive in all areas of one's life. This is mindful manifesto. So basically again, we are talking about resolving our issues, anxiety, depression, ailments. In this difficult world, when our schedules are so busy, when people are just running around to earn 3 meals, in such situation, how do we feel healthier? How do we remove the addictions away from us? That is, how can we have vices away from us? How can we use our virtues of being strong, healthy, etc., in leading a virtuous life which will match with the societal standards? That is what was required in this particular essay. And you had to use the inner strength and capacity to fight vices. That how do you fight vices ultimately? All these things which are written here, the meaning of mindful manifesto, they require lot of inner strength and capacity to fight vices. And my students know fully well that when you are fighting with vices, you treat them as corona vices. We call them corona vices. If you keep them away, They cannot harm you. But once they impinge upon you, and they enter upon you, then you are in trouble. So if you want to achieve tranquility in the life, in your life, then you have to understand what is happening in our bodies, minds, and the environment in a manner that is open-hearted, aware of, but not caught up in our habitual patterns of thoughts. So we have to, so what are we thinking? What are we talking about? Can anyone guess? Can anyone guess what is being talked about? Whose thoughts are these? Whose thoughts are these? These are basically Buddhist thoughts, which we studied in our classes. These are Buddhist thoughts. So basically, when we talk about Mindful Manifesto, then we are talking about knowing what is happening as it is happening and learning from that in a way that leads us to act from a place of greater skill, choice and compassion. Again, choice and compassion. You have to remember these two great, very, very great virtues. Then only you will be able to achieve tranquility of the mind. Otherwise, achieving tranquility of mind is very, very difficult. So you have to apply all your knowledge of ethics. Therefore, this topic needed knowledge of Buddhist principles. So this question basically came on Buddhist principles and concepts of being free from agitation of mind. So this question was from Buddhism. The ethical principles in Buddhism. What is the source of problems? Everyone has issues, everyone has problems. What is the way of resolving those issues? What is the path on which we have to move to resolve these issues? So we had to use Buddhism, the principles and concepts of Buddhism in writing this essay. If you had understood that, if candidates understood it, then it was very, very easy for them. Otherwise, just going in for searching the meaning of Mindful Manifesto itself will kill the candidate. Mindful Manifesto is nothing. Basically, is fighting with our own problems as taught by Buddha. As taught by Buddha. So the essay was very, very simple. Every essay was very simple. You will just see. And that's why I say that you should study ethics in a different way that we study in the class, where we always move with the help of EFD. I will just show you a EFD and you will suddenly be surprised that how all these essays were emanating and getting their strength from that simple diagram. So when we come to third topic, section A, third topic. Ships do not sink. What is saying? Ships do not sink because of water around them. Ships sink because of water that gets into them. Just forget about the sentence and think that you are the ship and vices are all around you. Vices are all around you. You are just like ship. As we have studied in the paper of ethics, we had to explain in this particular essay the continued fight between virtues and vices. You know, all these essays were basically related to virtues and vices. But understanding them in a very easy and simplified manner, which basically enters into your heart and brain, It's not easy unless you are involved in the class as Ohana family where no one is left behind. It had to be discussed here that till we are able to keep the vices away from our existence, we will be taken over by them and our virtues will be subdued. No. Right? And we shall be taken over by vices and our virtues will be subdued. We shall be far, far away from our societal standards. Okay. Now, I would like to show you the diagram. This is the diagram which always gives you very high marks in GS4 and essay paper. This is known as EFD. The students who are not studying with me in Unacademy, they should please try to understand this diagram, because this gives you the whole thing. Now this essay, just see this essay. How can we interpret this essay? It is so simple. Now these are virtues and this has been made by one of my students. Remember it. You will, in this word, you will never find any diagram on ethics in any book. There's only in Unacademy, in our class, my students have made this diagram which explains almost all possible situations in ethics. So now just see, what was the essay? Essay was just this, that everyone has virtues inside him. As ship is sailing, restaurants are there, people are enjoying, singing, and their journey is going on life very nicely. So if you walk on virtuous life, if you are leading virtuous life, you are very, very happy. Very happy. And you meet the societal standards. This is individual. This is individual. And this is our society. Basically, in our life, our whole objective is to match our individual standards with the society's standards. And these virtues of our life, the सद्गुण, जिनको हम सद्गुण कहते हैं, वो दोनों तरफ से घिरे होते हैं दुर्गुणों से. Vices are nothing but दुर्गुण. ये दुर्गुण हमेशा अटैक करने की कोशिश करते रहते हैं वर्च्यूज पर, हमेशा. They want to attack virtues. And as soon as they enter and start killing the virtues, you deviate and your journey starts wavering. And you don't find any visibility of societal standards. This is what the topic was. This was the topic. So here it is explained by the student, not today. It is 6 months back, and this is what essay is asking you. People not following ethics first get isolated by the society because vices have attacked them. So society want to isolate them. As we get affected by corona, we are isolated. And even if after isolation, such people don't mend their ways because they are overtaken by vices, then they are tackled by law. Then we hand over, the society hands them over to law, where the punishment etc. is decided by the courts. Right? So this is what was being asked in this particular essay. Nothing more than this. Aren't you surprised to see this diagram and the essays here? Even first two essays directly based on this. How morals are affecting your life. How morals are showing light to your life. This what was being asked in last two questions. This is a light which is being thrown. This light is showing the path that we have to move on this path. Don't deviate, otherwise you will be trapped by virtues and you will sink like the ship. So if you are there as individual, if the ship is there and is surrounded by vices even, it doesn't make any difference. But as soon as some water enters, that is vices enters in your existence, you sink. That was the essay, my dear children. That's why I always tell everyone that GS4 should be studied with lot of strength. Then there was a question number 4. Question number 4 was, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Again, it is purely ethics question. If you remember that Leonardo da Vinci, he said this thing. This was the statement of Leonardo da Vinci. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. The very famous quote of Leonardo. If you had known this, what was there in this essay? There's nothing. So we value simple things because they do all the things we need easily. We value simple things because they do all the things. Simple things will be doing everything for us in our life. We don't require complications to lead happy life. Simplicity is harmonious. It creates harmony in our life. That's why Leonardo da Vinci was always emphasizing on it, that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And in this particular answer, we had to take notes of our class on APJ Abdul Kalam here. The candidates were required to mention APJ Abdul Kalam. This question was basically on APJ Abdul Kalam. We had to write the ethical principles of APJ Abdul Kalam. Are you getting it? They had simply asked about APJ Abdul Kalam, which we had studied in our class with a lot of strength. And I am very sure all you young children, as you all young children know it fully well, and all respect APJ Abdul Kalam. So it was very easy to answer because most of the students have read about APJ Abdul Kalam, his stories, his life, his principles, etc. Now, what is sophistication basically? This had to be defined in the essay. Sophistication in today's world is considered to be a measure of refinement. This is considered a measure of refinement. Sophisticated people display good taste, wisdom, and subtlety. Again, what we are talking about here. What is wisdom? What is wisdom? Can anyone tell me what is wisdom? What is wisdom? What is wisdom? Is one of the greatest virtues. यही तो हमें डिस्कस करना था वहां पर. In terms of social class, it can be linked to status, privileges, and superiority. So again, we had studied this particular topic. But nothing in here says anything about being complicated. We cannot be complicated. We should not be complicated. We should remain happy. That's why that's the only point which will make us liking simplicity. So we should not be having any complications, difficulty, or anything like this unnecessarily thrusting on ourselves. There's no need of doing that. It's a cardinal virtue that had to be explained by you in the paper. While it can be a measure of fitting in, I believe, we can all achieve our own form of sophistication. Me, you, X, Y, Z, all my students of Ohana, everyone. Yes, you are right, Shilpi. So, I believe we can achieve our own form of sophistication. We just need to define what is that for us. For me, for example, the sophistication is teaching you. teaching you with all my strength, with all my knowledge, with the objective of bringing best results for you. So I don't believe in bringing lot of artificiality in classes. We always discuss on practical ground as we are discussing in family. That is the main thing. That is the main thing. Now, being loyal to certain thoughts, being part of a certain group, that's why I made this group Ohana. Because once you are part of a group where idealism or what thoughts you are thinking, if they start flowing on common ground, then you very easily achieve sophistication. That is sophistication for all of us. Sophistication doesn't mean that one person is getting down off a very big car and he's wearing suit and tie and all those things. He's a very sophisticated person. No. Loyal to certain thoughts. If we are loyal to thoughts which we think are important for our life, right? The thoughts which we think are important for our lives, and have some specific beliefs, those beliefs, in my case I can tell you that I have a very strong belief. From the very beginning I am having that belief that if you want to really serve the poor, then you will have to be very strong, and you can be very strong when no one can raise finger at you. So you have to be very simple. You go to the villages, you sit with the people on the ground, you eat their food, you sit with them, you enter into their houses, see their problems, you try to give them real ear, give them opportunities so that they feel at ease. So, to become clear on ourselves, we had to write it. So become clear on ourselves. All the things I have taken from my classes. And to become clear on ourselves and our desires, we need to become a simplicity master. That's what we have to achieve in our life. That we should be master of simplicity. Yes, Shavik, wisdom coupled with integrity helps one to achieve the probity in governance, which for a civil servant is sophistication. Yes, my dear child, very right. Rinshi Yadav, people had sophisticated to prove themselves superior. That is a false sophistication, my dear child. मैं यही तो बताना चाह रहा हूं. वो सब झूठ है, वो सच नहीं है. इसलिए ये ऐसे का टॉपिक है. इसलिए वो ये ऐसे का टॉपिक है, क्योंकि वो सब कुछ झूठा वर्ड है. जितना सिंपल आप रह सकते हैं वही रियल वर्ड है, वही रियल वर्ड है, वही सोफिस्टिकेशन है. अगर हम एक दूसरे की रेस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं, इफ यू आर हैविंग द कॉमन पैशंस, इफ यू हैव पैशन फॉर हेल्पिंग द पुअर, दैट इज योर सिंप्लिसिटी एंड दैट इज योर सोफिस्टिकेशन. So this was a very strong question from ethics. Very strong topic. Now, let us see something about paper section B also, a little bit of it. The first was, culture is what we are, civilization is what we have. It's so simple. We have to understand here the meaning of culture and civilization, that's all. So it was a topic on ethics and Indian culture. So even in part B, the first essay included lot of ethical principles and Indian culture. So what we were needed to discuss in this particular essay was set of values, again values. In that diagram which I had shown you here, these are morals and values. Values rest here. These are the values which make us strong, which make us strong in our lives, which are helping us to move on a right path. Because what is written here? Society starts observing the moral practices, that is values, value systems followed by an individual. After so many years, society accepted those morals when understand that these are benefiting the society, and those becomes ethics. And once they become ethics, everyone is in the society has to follow these. So connect it here, my dear children. Just see. Culture is what we are, civilization is what we have. So we needed to discuss that culture is a set of values nurtured by people in a geographically defined area. That is culture. A set of values nurtured by people in a geographically defined area. And we have studied in our class that there are certain universal values. If you remember that we have studied in the class that there are certain universal values which are followed throughout the world. But geographically, so many values are different in different societies, different groups, or even as a nation. Whereas civilization, when we talk about civilization, civilization is the manifestation in form of physical development and manifestation through art, literature, architecture, technology, life pattern, rituals, festivals. This is what we had to write. Examples from Indian culture needed to be mentioned here. Temples to dances, to societal standards and human relationships. These things had to be mentioned to define the culture and differentiate it from civilization. Are you getting it? What I am explaining and what I am trying to explain is so simple, in simple words, and I want to take you to a journey which can easily bring you the success. Yes, Shilpi, you are right. Kajal, you are very, very right. Moral subjectivism. So you are understanding how many marks will you get if you study GS4 with lot of intent and passion? As you have already, most of the students who are in my class, they have done it. Okay. Now, moving further, let us see question number 2 of section B. That is question number 6 basically. There can be no social justice. It's a very simple, very, very simple. So why you are saying, some people are saying that is for difficult paper. Just see what it is. There can be no social justice without economic prosperity. Okay, but economic prosperity without social justice is meaningless. Simple. Here we have to remember only two things. Only two things. First, income related inequalities, notably in the ownership of capital and other assets, in access to a variety of services and benefits, and in the personal security that money can buy, are growing. Today, I have seen, one day I was going to the market with my wife. Suddenly, I heard siren as if some ambulance is coming. When I did not stop, because this is my principle that unless it is a ambulance, I will not give away. But there was no ambulance visible in my back view mirror. I did not stop. They were continuously pushing the horns. So what was happening? One of the richer person of Jaipur, he was moving with 5 cars, 2 ahead and 2 in the back, and he was sitting in middle car, a big car. So income related inequalities, so these things have to be explained in the essay. We have to write these type of anecdotes which I have just told you. These anecdotes have to be put in your explanation or your essay. So income related inequalities, notably in the ownership of capital and other assets, number 1. Number 2, in access to a variety of services, because we don't even know what type of the services are available to the people who are very rich. They don't have to bother सब्जी का रेट क्या है, आज नमक तेल मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, आज कितने बजे मार्केट बंद हो जाएगा, मैंने जो पैसे सेव कर रखे थे वो खत्म हो गए, अब मैं कहां, अगर मुझे एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं मिलेगा तो मेरा क्या होगा. दे डोंट हैव टू थिंक अबाउट इट. So we had to explain here that economic prosperity does not mean prosperity of few. First, you have to explain that economic prosperity means it is as per our constitutional mechanism, where we say that it should be spread over all people, all places, all classes, all castes. Right? There is also a greater inequality in the distribution of opportunities for remunerated employments. There are thousands of people, thousands and lakhs of people who are very well qualified, but they don't get opportunities for remunerated employment. With worsening unemployment, as we study in the class, and underemployment in various parts of the world, affecting a disproportionate number of people at the lower end of the socio-economic scale. What has happened now? We should have given an example of corona disease, COVID. Suddenly it has given manifestation to this particular statement that without economic prosperity without social justice is meaningless. If we are still discriminated about in reference to caste, in reference to our class, in reference to our group, then what is the importance of economic prosperity? We are still living in those closed gates which we study in the class. We are not being allowed, societal people are not allowed to cross those walls and reach other groups which have called themselves to be stronger and higher castes. Then there is no social justice, and if social justice is not there, what is the importance of prosperity? This had to be discussed. The inequality gap between the richest and poorest countries, measured in terms of national per capita income, is growing as well. Gap is increasing hugely. And here in this particular essay, you had to explain what do you understand by economic prosperity, which I just want to explain you in few lines only. Prosperity is the state of being wealthy. Is the state of being wealthy. Remember it. Is the state of being wealthy or having a rich and full life. An example of the prosperity is a person who is living a rich and full life with all the money and happiness he needs. So what do we consider as prosperity now? He is a very prosperous person. What does it mean? It simply means in physical world wrongly which is happening, which is creating social gaps. That the prosperity in developing countries having basic luxuries such as running water and electricity. For us, that is luxury. For villagers which have never seen tapped water, that is luxury. If the electricity comes to their home, that is luxury. That is the luxury. Are you getting it? That is luxury. A very interesting essay it was. Then we had to connect this concept with social justice, which can be understood in terms of distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within the society. It was a simple thing. So we had to connect what I have written above to the distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within the society. That's what was being asked in the essay. Essay was not asking you to explain the constitutional provisions. Many people who have talked to me said we have written constitutional provisions. This essay was nowhere requiring it. It was talking about that a very, very costly car of 1.5 crore can be luxury for X person, but for a common person, for a poor person, running water, a small room to live, and availability of electricity is luxury. If you had explained, if you were able to explain this thing in the essay, you would have scored very, very high marks. Very high marks. This is what examiner wanted to understand. Yes, you are right, Vijeta. We have to criticize of the country. Is it right to write in that? We are not criticizing. Remember it. We are not criticizing anything. But you have to tell the truth. This is not about our country. We are talking about the principles. That for some people, how are we writing? That for some people, the prosperity is having a car, a big bungalow, all luxuries in their life. But for others who are poor, luxury is having basic amenities like running water and electricity. There is no criticism of government. No, not at all. And Manish is very right. Without economic justice, we cannot get inclusive growth. That is true. Without economic justice, we cannot get economic growth, and which is one of the inclusive growth, which is one of the SDG goals. And constructive criticism is never considered bad. But here is no criticism, because we are not talking about our own country. We are not blaming anyone. We are saying that this is what it means. Yes, you have to show, but you have to write that prosperity has different meaning. That's why they have asked this essay, just now study it. There can be no social justice without economic prosperity. Okay. But what type of economic is prosperity? So you had to write in the essay that when we talk about prosperity, for some people, such and such thing can be prosperity, and for others, having the basic needs of the life, that becomes luxury. So if I get water, if I get meals, if I get roof on my head, if I get some clothes, that is luxury for me. But I should get that access. Where is my space? Space does not mean having a house and a kitchen and toilet. Where is my space in decision making? Where is the social justice? That was asked in this particular essay, my dear children. Then this I did not explain because it was the easiest thing. I don't know why did they give. Patriarchy is the least noticed, yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Is the least needed, least noticed. What is the meaning of the least noticed? Patriarchy is there in our society. It is there. But no one bothers about that. Who bothers about it now? No one bothers. Number one. And the government has now led the way. Government has led the way to diminish this idea. To diminish this idea. Now, in every record, the mother's name is always there, starting from class 10th. In all purchases of the property, the women's name have to be there. So now patriarchy as such is losing its game, but is the most significant structure of social inequality, because still we consider when a son is born in the family that he will, हमारे क्या कहते हैं उसको, किस चीज को आगे ले जाएगा, हमारे कुल को, हमारे नाम को आगे ले जाने वाला हमारा बेटा ही होगा. जब किसी की डेथ हो जाएगी तो उसका बेटा ही उसको अग्नि देगा. ये तो बड़े मुश्किल से now government has done it, that girls also have the right. Now you have to mention this thing, that recently specified provision that daughters have now equal right even from the back date. We had studied in the class. So this patriarchy has created huge social inequalities which are taking a lot of time for repair. Lot of time is being consumed for repairing that. Lot of time for repairing that. Repairing the damage. This should have been emphasized in the essay. First, we had to explain the social inequality, and then we had to show that what efforts are there and what, according to you, here this was very important, you had to write that what can be done to speed up the repair of the damage which has already been done to the society. This was very important. And the last essay was so simple that we had studied in class just 4 days back. Just 4 days back. Technology as the silent factor in international relations, which is my favorite subject, of which I am taking now free classes also. From today at 8 p.m. I am starting free classes on international relations. And this is the third class, technology as the silent factor. This is being used as a source of power. Technology now is a very important source of power. What is power? Can anyone explain me what is power? When I am saying technology is a very great source of power, and the example is what? Twitterology. What you get? Twitter diplomacy. We should have given this example of Twitter diplomacy. This is being used as a source of power. This was supposed to be explained here. And what is power? What is power? Can anyone tell me what is power? No, 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 not only influencing others. No, no, beta, no, Vaishali, no, not at all. No, beta. You can ask any question, beta. Yes, now Shilpi has written it correctly. Ability to influence others. What is the meaning of this? Ability to force other nation to do what? To do what it is not willing to do. That is power. So when technology is being used as the source of power, it means that some countries are trying to force other countries to do what that country is not willing to do. For example, when what was that medicine of malaria? Chloroquine. What was the full name of that medicine? Does anyone remember the name of that medicine? Yes, Suman, you are right. Suman is very correct. Now she has defined it very correctly. What was the medicine which was asked by President of USA? Malarial disease, chloroquine. What was that chloroquine? So the medicine which was asked by US, oh yes, SCQ, hydrochloroquine. Now we were needing it in our country at that time. That was supposed to be the medicine for corona. We said, and we were distributing it to our friends, underdeveloped countries, developing countries. So we said, please, it will take some time. Immediately there was a Twitter. It was a tweet from the President of USA that if you don't do it immediately, you will have to face the consequences. And we immediately sent it. So it is a very silent factor. You don't use words. There is no need of using loud, as I am speaking, there is no need of using the loud voice. And one tweet did the work. So this is what we have studied. The full class was dedicated to it. I will just tell you the name of the name of the class, because now we are going to do it again in the free classes as I am starting from today. So in these ways, if you study the classes very well, you need not be very sophisticated in your language to explain your views and understand. The whole thing is here, right? It says social media and diplomacy changing the world. This is the topic which we have studied in the class, which we shall study in our free classes which are starting from today. And that's why technology as silent factor is a silent factor in international relations. So for my students, this was a very easy paper. Very, very easy paper. The only thing was just remain focused on what is being taught. And that's what they are doing. And the results of 2021 will show this very clearly. Okay, now I have to show few things to you for 1 minute. So New Year's resolution, UPSC CSE 2021, 22 and 23. Right. So 6 months GS batch, which I am also doing a lot of classes. It has started on 4th of January. Then again there is a batch for CSE 2022. Again, I am doing a lot of classes. I will be organizing on my own also, the batch courses also. I do complete GS2, GS3 and GS4. Complete GS2, complete GS3, complete GS4. So this is a special thing by by Unacademy, that UPSC CSE GS plus optional combo in very less price and very effective courses. This is the fee structure, and if you really want to opt for Unacademy Plus platform, please use my code RVJ81 for getting me as your mentor, advisor, and showing a path, and sometimes being very harsh and hard. And students studying with me know that I put them always in very hard working zone. Every time I give them assignments, work, preparation of questions, this, that, everything. Can you believe that in my classes, some students are forming questions on some topics, other batches forming questions on other topics. Some people are directly making impact diagrams, some people are making block diagrams. So studies in a very different way it is happening there. Some students who are studying with me, they know it. So you can use my code RVJ. So it is Rakesh Verma Jaipur 81. 81 is my badge. So RVJ 81. So iconic prices are going to hike very soon, and this is what they say: get subscription now. Use code RVJ 81. And we are having very competitive gamified UPSC CSE battle this year, Combat, Unacademy Combat, where a lot of good prizes are given. So every Sunday, every alternate Sunday it is happening, and in next Friday it will happen again. Oh, next Sunday it will happen again. Right, at 11 a.m. So let's crack it. Let's work together. Let's work as Ohana. There is a family where all the students are taken together. Even if someone is feeling less confident, we all work together. Our students also help them. So students help each other. Thank you very much for attending this very important class and understanding how the essays are so easy. You have to understand how to apply the basic principles of GS4 and the studies which you are doing in the class. Those have to be applied and combined together to get very high marks in essays. Thank you very much, and we shall meet at 8 p.m. again, where we are starting with our international relation course on free platform, and the first class is on instruments of state policy, which you will really enjoy. Thank you very much.